Hello, Joe here from Infiniti of Tacoma. Today I'm going to tell you about this beautiful 2020 Subaru BRZ Limited that we have for sale. This one's in beautiful condition inside and out. Local, one owner clean Carfax, only 6,276 miles. We actually just took this one in on trade. And you might be wondering, what did they trade it in for? An Infiniti? Were they tired of a small two-door coupe that they traded in for a big SUV? In fact, we traded in for another Subaru BRZ, but the Subaru BRZ this customer traded in for was the range-topping TS model. It's kind of like the ultimate version of the BRZ made by STI, offering a huge rear wing, the best in suspension components that Subaru has to offer. So definitely an upgrade over this one. And that one was a little bit more extreme. It was lowered, it had a set of raised wheels, it had a downpipe with the cats removed, where this one is completely stock. So maybe if you don't need the full-on, the racetrack version of the BRZ, this Limited might be the perfect one for you. I'd be more than happy to have this one. I love Subarus. My daily driver is a 2002 Subaru Outback Sport, which I love. Mine has a 5-speed manual, but this has an amazing 6-speed manual gearbox. Very nice shifter, very nice. Heated seats. You have a drive mode selector. There's a track mode, and then you can just shut the traction stability control off completely. You have a keyless ignition with push button start. This one has navigation. It has a rear parking camera. I'm gonna roll down the windows a little bit. It's getting a little stuffy in here. It's starting to get warm out. Maybe I'll put a little air on too. And as I mentioned, only 6,276 miles. You have an automatic dimming mirror with integrated compass. It's a newer rimless design of the rearview mirrors. You have also universal garage door opener. Nice leather up steering wheel, feels wonderful in your hands. The Limited is one of the range-topping versions of the BRZ. Obviously not as range-topping as a TS, but you have nice features, heated seats, this nice leather and suede cloth trimmed seats. You have the BRZ insignia in there. The rear seats aren't that big, but it might be okay for kids or throwing like some luggage and stuff back there. Really nice color combination in silver and black. I mean, it's in pretty much flawless condition of only 6,000 miles. Nice polished alloy wheels of humongous Brembo brakes. I'm a big fan of the BRZ. Basically, kind of like the Miata, it's designed to be one of the best handling, light on its feet cars that you can buy. While big horsepower is not the objective of a vehicle like this, they could easily turbocharge it and maybe give it 250 or 300 horsepower, but in its naturally aspirated form, it makes a little over 200 horsepower from that nice 2-liter flat 4-cylinder. It's not a very heavy vehicle. I think it's 0 to 60 in a little over 6 seconds, so definitely has a great pickup and go. But the nice thing about this vehicle, this thing is designed to have as perfect 50-50 weight distribution as possible and to offer amazing handling and driver feedback. So the whole idea of this, and like the Miata, is you don't want to have an engine that's so big that it's going to overpower the chassis. If you're pushing it hard through the corners and you give it too much gas, this vehicle is going to be very forgiving. That's going to let you, and obviously it can't overcome stupidity, but in most situations, if it starts going sideways, you have the traction stability control system off, it starts the rear end starts sliding on you, it's forgiving enough to let you take back control and prevent the vehicle from losing control and driving off the road. Where you're dealing with like a 400 or 500 horsepower Corvette, Mustang, or Camaro, you have those systems shut off. You give it too much throttle while going through a corner, things happen really fast, like lightning fast, and the tail will snap right around, and before you know it, you're off the road. So if you value handling, preserving momentum, roaring through those gears, using the full potential of a vehicle's potential on road, this is the vehicle for you. And there's something to be said by taking a car like this. It's not the fastest car in the world, but I think a car like this is a little bit more fun to push on public roads versus a 500 or 600 horsepower, high performance car. Because you can have a lot more fun pushing this hard on the road without risk of losing your license, hurting yourself, or endangering someone else. Really a great vehicle. And now, let's take it for a spin. Alright, here we go, taking this 2020 Subaru BRZ Limited out for a spin. This one has aftermarket exhaust, so it's a little bit louder than stock. Sounds very nice. And all Also, maybe if you're a little bit taller, you might be wondering how you fit. I'm 6'2". I fit very comfortably in here. Lots of space for my shoulders, hips, legs, everything. And I've had some small cars before. I had an 04 Miata, which in that car, as much as I loved it, I did not fit. So after 6 months, I had to regrettably sell that. Maybe if I bought a BRZ, I would have ended up keeping it, and who knows. Really wonderful gearbox, a 6-speed gearbox. You might find yourself shifting gears more than you have to just because it's so pleasurable to use. And I think it's almost a shame to get this vehicle with an automatic transmission. The whole point about this vehicle, it's a driver's car. You want that, connection, and that human-machine connection you have with the gearbox. It's really a wonderful thing. That perfect shift. Then you get into rev match downshifts, flipping the throttle and stuff like that. I've been driving manual transmission cars for 25 years, and I'm still perfecting it myself. I love doing it. I never get tired of it. Maybe some people do. My daily driver is a 02 Subaru Outback Sport, and that has a manual gearbox on it. Another great aspect of the BRZ is the engine. Subaru's engine configuration is a little bit different than a lot of other manufacturers. I guess the only manufacturer really that has an engine configuration somewhat similar to what Subaru has is Porsche. Porsche uses a flat 6-cylinder engine in their 911, and the Subaru BRZ features a 2-liter flat 4-cylinder engine. And Subaru has been using flat 4 engine designs for a very, very long time. I think almost ever since Subaru came to the U.S. market. I don't know if that was in the 70s or early 80s, but they featured flat 4-cylinder engines, and still to this day, that's what Subaru uses in most of their vehicles, and they did actually have some flat 6-cylinders as well. So a flat 4-cylinder engine is unique in design because it's almost shaped like a pancake. It's flat, but there's a lot of benefits to having that flat design versus regular inline 4-cylinder engine or like a V6 or a V8. A flat engine design has a lower center of gravity, which will improve the handling and feel for the vehicles. And also, with its flat design, it allows for breakaway engine mounts. So on certain frontal impacts, the drive shaft will disconnect and the vehicle will go underneath the car in a frontal collision versus inside the car where it could crush the passengers. So it's really an amazing engine. I love the 2.5 liter flat 4 I have in my Subaru Impreza. Doesn't make quite as much horsepower. It's just naturally superior to 2 liter, but it's also a great engine. And even though it's a close ratio 6-speed box, it's nice having that 6 gear on it. Mine is a 5-speed, and I feel like when I'm cruising around at highway speeds, I wish I had that extra cog, because the car is kind of revving a little bit more than I want, and it's a little bit too loud. Visibility is also really good in the BRZ. I feel I can see all around me. Nice visibility. In the rear spoiler, you really can't even see it in the rear view mirror. It's not high enough to obstruct your rearward visibility. Unlike that TS, which had a big airplane wing on the back of it. Alright, went a little bit off the beaten path today just to take it on one of these roads that we have somewhat near our store, but it's not the smoothest road in the world, that's for sure. This is a strong point for the BRZ, is a tight little curvy road like this. It's really at its own limit as another BRZ passes by. This is what this car was designed to do. You know, small, I should say small, but tight, curvy roads like this. And it's really confident, inspiring. You don't feel like, you know, the rear end's going to kick out. Everything feels planted. I can just floor the gas and the car just stays planted. I mean, it really cars up these corners like few other cars I've driven. And you know, you have bigger, heavier cars. They might have more horsepower, but they're not as nimble in these corners. And it's a whole different type of driving experience. You can have a car, and you can get a rush from driving really fast and accelerating really fast in a straight line. But it's also, there's a lot of driver enjoyment in you know, taking a tight curvy road like that and just going through the curves and enjoying the handling of a nice finely engineered car like this. That was basically, this was designed to be one of the, you know, best handling cars, most communicative vehicles for a driver that you can get, you know, under $30,000 or maybe even under $50,000. A little bit of traffic going down the hill, so can't quite push it as hard as I did going up the hill. But it's always actually a little bit, it's a little bit more fun pushing it hard going up the hill versus down the hill. So I guess it's good that it worked out that way. Well, thanks so much for taking the time today to watch this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, like the video. Subscribe to our channel if you want to see some of the latest and greatest vehicles that we have coming into our inventory. I try to get vehicles posted pretty fast as we get vehicles in our inventory. I appreciate any questions or comments. And once again, thanks for watching, and maybe one of these days we'll see you soon in our